in today's RC car video I'm going to be talking about 5 easy ways to make your RC car slower. That's right, you did hear me. 5 easy ways to make your RC car go slower. That is because in today's video I'm going to talk about 5 very common mistakes of people trying to do things to their RC car to make it go faster, but inadvertently make it go slower. And several of the 5 points I'm going to be talking about are combinations of things that together can make your RC car go much faster. If you get one wrong or one out of balance with the other, they can actually pull the whole performance of the car down and make it go slower. Hence the title of this video, 5 easy ways to make your RC car go slower. But if you want to find out how to make your RC car go much faster, then stay with me guys. Let's dive on into point number 1, which is overgearing. And one of the first mistakes is overgearing your car. Now, one of the most popular videos I've done was on a version of the Traxxas Stampede, the Traxxas Bigfoot, where we increased the speed of the car by 50% for under $20. Now, we did that predominantly by changing the gearing, but we didn't go for the very fastest gear we could fit on that. We tested 6 or 7 different gears before coming up with a combination that where the motor wasn't going to get so hot it was going to fry itself, nor did we want the car taking so long to get up to that much faster speed that the thing was out of radio range. So we played around quite a lot with the gearing in order to get it right, and I would recommend that you do the same, because one of the easiest ways to make a car faster is to fit a much larger pinion. But if you fit too large a pinion on there and the motor hasn't got enough power to turn that larger gear, it will never get up into the rev range it needs to make that maximum speed on there. So one of the biggest mistakes you can make is going too far, too fast and overgearing your car. I'll show you one on the Armour to see what I mean. Now, a prime example of overgearing, this Armour Infraction is running a 45 tooth spur and a 34 tooth pinion on there. It can handle that with absolute ease because this has got an 8S motor fitted, an 8S ESC running off 8S batteries. So yours truly is going to fit a 39 tooth spur gear to it, because I know this setup has got the power to drive this gearing and the thing will run much faster. However, having tried a similar setup on my 6S Armour Infraction, fitted this gear to it and the thing actually ran slower than stock because the car simply didn't have enough power to push this gear in. So in changing the pinion and the spur, thinking I was going to go faster, I changed it too much. The engine was like buffing away like crazy and never getting up to that top speed into the rev range to deliver that power, to deliver the 100 miles an hour plus that I was looking for on there. So very easy to get the gearing wrong. So that just highlights, well, one car can run exceptionally high gearing and the exact same car but slightly different specification can actually run slower with the same gearing fitted. Hope that makes sense. And that brings me on to point number 2 of 5 easy ways to make your RC car go slower. Next is the motor. If you fit the highest kV motor that you possibly can to your RC car, that thing is gonna go like a rocket. Not happening. You could go wild and fit a 7700 kV into this Armour Infraction, but it's too big and too darn heavy for that motor to ever be effective on there. Not only that, something like that, you might only be running 4S or even 6S, because the higher the kV motor, the lower the rating of the batteries that you're going to run the car on. So in theory, the thing can rev higher, but you're going to be able to put less voltage through it. So you're beginning to see how everything is related on the car there. So while you might think, I'll fit a higher kV motor to my car to make it go much faster, again, you need to almost do this in baby steps and maybe move up 1000 kV, 2000 kV on there. Don't go jumping from a 3500 kV motor to a 7000 kV motor and thinking the car is going to go twice as fast, because it's not, because the car will never get up into that rev range, the power band, to deliver that high speed, particularly with something this big and this heavy. And to talk further about the kV ratings of the motors, I've got a Losi DBX Elite which has got an 800 kV motor on it, but the thing can still do 55 miles an hour and it weighs at least double the weight of this thing on there. So it's about the right kV motor in relation to the size of the car that you're running on there. But lower kV motors do have the advantage, they provide a lot more torque, so you can run higher gearing like this. So where a stock car couldn't run this gearing, this is an 1800 kV motor in here, geared up to this 8S setup, so it's going to be able to have the punch to push this lower gear up to hopefully a crazy fast speed. And the lower the kV motor, the bigger size batteries you can use. So a lower kV motor is more likely to be able to let you use 8S power or even 12S power, etc, etc. Hope that makes sense. So hopefully you're now beginning to see how some of these things balance themselves out. One doesn't necessarily work without the other, as you will see with all 5 of these points. And case in question, Poseidon do a 2200 kV motor that gives out 2500 watts, but this 1800 kV one, just 400 kV less, gives out 3900 watts, but only on 8S. So if you run that motor on 6S, it's not going to be developing the 3900 watts, so the car is going to be running slower. So you can't just look at the wattage of the motor and think, well, fit that to my car, it's going to run much faster, because you're needing the batteries and the ESC, the race fuel if you like, to drive that motor and get the peak power out of it. And if you like,
just remember, guys,
and if you like what you see today, guys,
don't forget to subscribe.
The wrong ESC. Well, this ESC may work perfectly well on the stock Armour Infraction 6S, although it does get a little bit hot and bothered, I have to say. If you go fitting things like a larger gearing setup to the car, several things are going to happen. Firstly, that motor is going to be working much harder, running like crazy. When that motor is working much harder due to trying to push this bigger gear, it's going to try and draw a lot more current through the ESC than the ESC was designed for, and therefore this thing will get hot, overheat and cut out. And never mind going slowly, you won't be going anywhere in a hurry if the ESC thermal temperature cuts out. So not only is it about having the right ESC for the right motor, but also the right gearing. So you're beginning to see how these things are very much interdependent upon each other there, guys. So one of the easiest ways to make your car go slower is actually to fit a much more powerful motor to the car, much higher gearing to the car, but have the stock ESC in place, which is going to be like having race fuel in your race tank, Ferrari engine in your car, and a fuel pump for a 1 litre Ford Fiesta on there. It simply is not going to be able to deliver the power you need on there. But the right ESC choice, like this Mamba XLX running on 8S, set up for 400 amps, is going to be able to power that setup with ease. Well, point number 4 out of easy ways to make your RC car go slower is battery choice. Or more to the point, the wrong battery choice. As an example, the ESCs the Armours come with as standard have minimum battery requirements, I think of around about 5000 milliamps a piece and 50C batteries a piece. If you run less power than that through the ESC, not only will the car run slower, but you actually risk damaging the batteries and potentially damaging the ESC, which is unlikely to be covered under warranty. So as an example, these Evonik 5500 milliamp 50C packs would be adequate for running the stock car on 6S on there, but likewise running these 3200 milliamp Venom packs, 30C a piece, will cause one of two things to happen, neither of which is good. The first is that ESC is going to try and draw too much current, too much power out of this battery, which will mean that the pack will get hot very quickly, it will swell up, potentially bursting open and catching fire, and you can say goodbye to the car at that point. And the second is the damage to the ESC, because if the battery isn't giving out enough juice through the ESC is also going to get hot and get damaged. And moving on to my 8S Armour Infraction, if you want this thing to shift along, developing the maximum power from that motor and the maximum power from this ESC, while these Evonik batteries may push it fairly fast, they are 5500 milliamp 50C packs, plenty of punch, good battery, no doubt, but this whole setup is going to run far better when a car has got 8S power fitted to it, because that motor I talked about develops its peak power on 8S, not on 6S. So while we'll go quick on 6S, it's not going to be going as fast as it could be without the full 8S power going through there. Likewise, the Mamba XLX will easily run on 6X, but it is designed for running up to that peak of 8S power on there. So it's going to be running its most efficient with 8S as opposed to 6S on there. So you can now see how everything is beginning to integrate. So any one of those first 4 points that you get wrong can actually make the car go slower rather than faster. And point number 5 in easy ways to make your RC car go slower is tyre choice. You might think fitting these bigger tyres to this car might make it go a little bit faster because you've got bigger diameter on there. Now I'm using that as a wild example there. But in doing that, fitting a larger wheel, thinking you'll go faster, yeah, it can work in some instances up until a point, but it's a bit like increasing the gearing. By fitting a bigger tyre on there, you are in effect increasing the gearing on the car, which is going to put more strain on the motor, it's going to put more strain on the AC, and it's going to draw more current through the batteries. So without all those things sorted, if you fit bigger tyres to the car, it's going to overheat in very, very short order indeed. And also, the right choice in tyres. These solid rubber ones fitted to the Armour Infraction do not balloon a great deal at speed. These are the ones fitted to my stock Armour Typhon, which for want of a better use are very rubbery, and they will expand greatly, and as the car runs faster, if you're over gearing it, putting a faster motor in there, etc., the tyres will get bigger and bigger and bigger, and you will end up going slower because you'll end up having to back off the power because the car is becoming uncontrollable as these wheels grow into what they call pizza cutters and balloon up, and the front of the car will develop very edgy handling indeed, and you can find yourself having to back off. So right tyre choice, absolutely imperative. But that's why I left that one to last, because it only becomes relevant when you've got everything else right. There's no point in changing to super duper nice tyres like these ones to ones that don't balloon if you haven't got the powertrain to drive you along at a high speed in the first place. Hope that makes sense. So there we have our 5 easy ways to make an RC car go slower. 1 is overgearing. Number 2 is fitting the wrong KV motor. Number 3 is fitting the wrong ESC. Number 4 is fitting the wrong battery. And number 5 is fitting the wrong tyres to the car. Well, I hope all those points help you out, as the aim of this video was actually 5 easy ways to make you go faster. You just need to get them in the right order at the right time. Well, thumbs up if you like this video, guys. Post any comments you might have in the comment section below the video, and hit the circle below to subscribe. And if you do hit the circle, don't forget to hit the bell.